Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the presentation for Change Composites. And at Change Composites, we are changing protection to change people's lives. A little bit about myself is I've always been an extreme person. From the day I was born, I would throw myself down the hill and take my feet off the wheels of my big wheel. You know, I would scare my mother, but that's who I am. And I've also been about protection my whole life. I've served in two branches of the military, both the Marine Corps and the Navy, and I would give anything to serve my country and the men and women who have served with me. But most of all, I love mountain biking. If it's extreme, I do it. If it's scary, I do it. And sometimes that doesn't end well. And myself, I've had 2 traumatic brain injuries which left me in the hospital. My wife had to be called to come pick me up. And that's one of the scariest moments in your life. And these effects not only last right then, but they last into the future. Things like depression, dementia, Alzheimer's, and even suicide happen from traumatic brain injuries. And then my brother was hit by an RPG in 2011 while he was serving as a gunner in Afghanistan. And you could tell that the PTSD he had suffered had changed the person who he was. And it's not just an isolated case between both myself and my brother. There are 1.4 million cases of this in the US alone every year. This costs us $76.5 billion. So what about helmets? Current helmets are meant to protect against skull fracture, to keep it from splitting open, but they don't protect against traumatic brain injuries. They use the same thin polycarbonate shell, which can be brittle and break under impact. And then they're paired with a styrofoam that has only 20 to 30% efficiency before it starts breaking. And all that energy is transduced back into your head. Our solution is the UMBO helmet. So what we're doing is we're taking a 3-layered construction, mimicking nature, to create a safer helmet. Our first is our patent-pending composite outer shell, which can take multiple impacts and distribute the force over a larger surface area. We pair that with foam that reacts differently under the different pressure to absorb the energy better. So what that does is that protects your brain and your skull. We have 2 patents filed currently on this. And the industry we're entering is the $150 million bicycle helmet industry. And what's cool about this industry is last year the sales increased by 20% in dollars. This says that people are paying more for their helmets than they ever have before. They care about their heads. So our competitors, Bell Helmets is the largest competitor in the world. They do $112 million in cycling, in motorsports, and football helmets as well. And then POC, which was considered the safety standards, they were founded in 2007, and by 2012, they were already grossing more than $22 million. And then they sold for 44 of that, so 2 times multiple of their gross revenue. And are we stopping at helmets? No, absolutely not. We're going to go on after the armor market, because that's who I am, and that's what I do, is I am here to protect people. And how are we going to do these sales? So we're going to have a mix of both online and retail sales, with 40% of our sales being online, direct to consumers. This will allow us to span a larger market than if we were just in the brick and mortar stores. And then our retail sales. This is where the customers get the hands-on at the mom and pop shops. You know, these people are buying $1,000 to $10,000 bikes every year. And how are we going to, present our sales strategy is through sponsorships and endorsements. Right now we have the Category 1 downhill national champ. She's riding for our helmet company already. We're going to release our product at Interbike 2015, in which we smash our helmet along with our competitors to show how much of a difference we make. And then we're going to leverage the industry connections between myself in the riding and racing and one of my co-founders. He was the former president of the Bicycle Racing Association of Colorado. We're going to leverage those industry connections to really push the helmet out there. And then we're going to use our social media. So we already have UMBO helmets on Facebook and starting to draw a buzz and a crowd. Lee McCormick, who has written the book on mastering mountain bike skills, has already touted our helmet. So it's ready to be pushed. So our financials. In 2015, we plan on doing a Kickstarter campaign in which we plan on producing 1,000 limited edition Colorado branded helmets. So these are for the real enthusiasts. In 2016, we look to branch into the road biking industry, which accounts for more than 60% of the bicycling industry. And then by 2018, we plan on passing our European standard, which will allow us to reach a market that is twice as large as the US helmet alone. And what this means is, you know, $17 million is great, but that means 100,000 lives every year that we can affect from keeping them in the hospital, from them waking up not knowing what's happening. That's really what this is about. So our go-to-market, I've told you a little bit about what's happening right now. Our prototype is currently being made, and we plan on testing it within the next month and a half. We're attending Interbike this year to show the kickoff of this helmet. And then we're developing the new helmets in the next 2 years. Our management team, as I said, I've got 11 years of experience in the military and 8 years experience in the cycling industry. Between myself, the PhD in material sciences, who also was the former president of BRAC, and Bethany Williams, we've got a pretty rounded team to bring this to market. And the advisory board, we've got the dynamic duo of Alan Duck and Ben Walker. And they've done a lot with Business Foundation. Alan Duck has written 4 titles on business growth along with exit strategy. And they have been crucial in developing the company into what it is. And Craig Norman is a marketing expert. So now he's actually the brand manager for Kids 3 as of last week. So what we've accomplished, we've competed in 3 different competitions and we've placed in all 3. We just secured $100,000 worth of funding 2 weeks ago. And then we got accepted into the hatchery program at the Innosphere. So we will be moving in there in June. So what we're going to need is approximately $250,000 more to get our products on shelf. This includes filing more patents for our padding, including our geometric shape along with our materials. It's going to cover our initial production runs along with our molding. This is not the cheapest helmet to produce. So we're creating a high-end product for a high-end consumer. And that has changed composites. And as sports are becoming more extreme, protect yourself.